Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the UKEL Week 2 for Summer 2020. I'm Will from William. I'm joined by Agent Jabatathorn. That's the wrong way again.
We'll get it. We'll get it.
I get it correct. And I do this at the beginning of every cast I ever do. Well, I pointed the wrong way. But we've got two really cracking games to start off the night. First of all, we've got London United versus Resolve.
Yeah, and London. Last week they were definitely playing good start. Revenge. Both two teams, I feel, very much in the middle of the pack for sort of team strength going into the split, how everyone perceived them. And it was certainly a very close game, so there's not really too much per se to take from that first game. They didn't necessarily look weak, they didn't necessarily look strong either. So coming into this one, still sort of a bit of an unknown quantity, whereas Resolve on the other side, everyone kind of just feels and to a degree kind of just knows Resolve are the strongest team coming into it, so expectations really high for Resolve. And I think looking at this game, most people are just going to expect Resolve to win. But who knows, maybe London pulls something out a little wacky. We'll kind of have to see. Of course, I think most of the casters, if not all of them, voted for Resolve, unsurprisingly, prediction-wise. So
I'm just saying, one caster did not.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at the two lineups, which is why you can see why so many people have decided that Resolve will be coming out victorious in this one with Altorres, Linkas, Pillar, Dragdar, and Richley. And you know that they're serious business because they've got the same clan tag at the beginning of each of their names. Yeah. That's how you know that these guys have blue essence to burn. And on the red side, we've got a lot of familiar names for those of you who have been around the university scene, the Newell, NSE for quite a while, or have watched or even played in these leagues. You've got Victoria in the top lane, Mawa, Articuno, Komikum, and the Heathen.
Yeah, and as you said, practically a full university NSE roster on the side of London and played together very well in the open quals, so they have that going for them. And of course, Resolve, same thing, unfortunately didn't quite make it into the UKLC, but looking at their strength relative to the rest of the league, we expect Resolve here to come out strong. Pillar likes his scaling picks, so expect to see him on something like Corky, something like Kassadin or Azir, something there. He just gets to scale up for a very long time, come online at something like 3 items, and then on the bottom side, Dragdar, most likely the strongest AD carry in the league. I don't think there is another AD carry in his tier or in his quality, so expecting Resolved, like usual, probably to play around Dragdar, play around Pillar, leave Artorias to his own devices. He's a very self-sufficient player, and that is probably the angle they'll end up going at this game.
Definitely strong teams across the board. And it's one of those things where you look at this London United roster and you think these are very individually good players and they played together for a long time. You've got Heathen, there is UKLC pedigree back when the UKLC was the top tier in the UK before it existed. So you've got these players and coming in and looking at this and being like, well, this team is the massive underdog, a lot of people are saying, It's mad. It shows what a level that Resolve are at and what a level the UKEL has evolved to be now that it's part of this very official pyramid. We are jumping into Champ Select, ladies and gentlemen, and the first, Resolve, my heart.
All right, well, you might have predicted London to win, but I think I know who you want to win now with the Fireguard ban.
Yeah, that's the thing. It shouts so much. Burning passion, but...
Yeah, so getting into the draft, Aphelios, the response ban by London. We've seen a lot of Aphelios come out, especially with a lot of the major leagues getting underway, and we've seen the power of Aphelios, particularly with hyper carry enablers, things like Lulu and Karma, etc. So no surprise to see it removed away on red side, not really willing to give that one over. However, Varus yet to be banned yet by either team, so definitely looking towards that as a potential first pick. However, Resolve opting into the Jace, not going to let Victoria, I believe, or Articuno, I think they're both Jace players. Not going to be willing to let that fall into either of their hands. Also, Senna removed away too, so London now, balls in their court. It's kind of up to them whether they want to leave Varus up. Answer seems to be yes. So, removing away the Yuumi, and Resolve, you'd imagine just snap Varus away. No real surprises there, still undoubtedly the strongest AD carry on the patch. And Resolve probably happy with their B1. Now it's up to London to respond.
Yeah, Varus super strong pick and with a very squeezed bot lane because you look and say Senna, and Ophelia is taken on the board, but Syndra and Vigar are also banned away from that bot lane because they can be played really effectively in that position. Graves is a really strong, aggressive champion, and Ziggs being locked in. Where could this be going? Is this a Articuno mid pick? Is this a marksman pick?
So this is definitely a flex pick. It can do fine into the Lethality Varus, into the Poke Varus, into the matchup, but it does really depend on the support matchup heavily. So I would expect London to either pick their support in R3 or hold out for a little while on their support pick so they can get a pretty good counter. But going down this route means that they've now let Karma go through 2, so Resolve get to hold onto the Karma flex if they so feel like it. They get to pick a counter pick jungle here. I would imagine Linkus actually ends up picking up Lee. I feel like he is very comfortable on this champion. But we'll have to wait and see what he actually opts to go for. Nidalee is risen in priority as a strong pick into the Graves, and with the kind of champions that Resolve have right now, makes a whole bunch of sense. Sort of leaning into the poke slash not really willing to commit to anything kind of comp right now Resolve are, and honestly just drafted a very, very strong B1 through B3 right now. So Resolve, I'll definitely say winning out in the first phase of picks. London now hovering over the Wukong.
Wukong has been locked in. So I guess two very different styles coming through, because you can see Resolve, they've gone for the very standard bot lane aim to jungle pick, where those tend to be the ones that you pick up on blue side. You want to be getting those counter picks in one of your solo lanes, and give yourself a bit of variety in that. But London United have gone a very different route. They've got their jungler and maybe their marksman and Ziggs, we're still not sure, but the Wukong's definitely going up to Victoria in the top lane.
Yeah, and I think when Resolve have these champions, London really needed some hard engage, and I think they could have definitely found it through Ornn. Ornn went through the entire first phase. I'm not sure whether it's going to be banned away. Resolve seem to be focusing at least their first ban on the Thresh, but they can still have engage via the Wukong. It's just going to often or not require a flash on top of it, so could end up getting banned here. I feel like this would have gone really well with the Ziggs. It's such a potent combo. It adds a lot of scaling, a lot of sort of keeps the flex potential alive too. So surprised to see that even go through the second phase of bans. But with the Wukong being locked in, I'd imagine Wukong ends up going top.
Yeah.
And with the Ezreal hover, I would even imagine this realistically gets locked in. It does mean that Ziggs is going to end up in the mid lane. Means Wukong, in most worlds, is going to end up in Victorio's hands. We did see it actually played support in the LEC. Yeah, I know, it's surprised as well. Everyone was very bamboozled when I believe it was Mad Lions ran it in the support role, and it done relatively well too. So is technically a flex. We'll have to wait and see. But Resolve now, Bulls really in their court. They can do whatever they feel like they want to do with the Orianna lock-in. Still does hold Karma to that flex potential, and we'll have to wait and see whether or not the Karma ends up in the top of the support role. And oh, that's a champion.
That is a big champion, physically very large. Volibear has been locked in, which should confirm what we kind of already guessed, that Karma would be going into this bot lane. There is a little bit of flexibility there, but you've got to imagine with these champions, the way that they are, you've got to imagine it's going to be the Volibear in the hands of our Taurus in the top lane. Just going to see what we see for London United in their final pickup, and it is going to be the Nautilus being hovered, but it's going to be Leona change at the last minute.
Yeah, last minute, definitely needed some engage. Either one would have probably worked out fine. A little bit of disconnect between the Ezreal and the Leona. They kind of like to do different things. Ezreal typically wants to sort of just sit back, farm from range, or just stack up the tier. Leon get to the man immune, the Triforce spikes, so bit of a disconnect in terms of the actual lane pairing. However, London were in need of some hard engage, so it does make sense that they end up picking it. But I'm very curious as to why Ornn just didn't get picked up by the side of London. I feel like it would have been a very fine take. Maybe I'm tunneling too hard, but I feel like they definitely needed a little more engage when Resolve showed that much poke and that much kite. But these are the comps we've ended up with. I feel like Resolve definitely leaning into the stronger champions of this patch right here. And I feel like London from the get-go could potentially be struggling going into this game.
I think my question to you would be then, we've got London United's draft. We can see it on the screen right now. You're saying that maybe they should have gone for something a bit of heavier engage. Do you not see Wukong and Leona as enough for them to force a fight into this competition with the Karma, with the Oriana, who are very good at moving backwards while fighting?
I just feel like Ornn as a champion offers a lot. So that's probably why I'm leaning on it. And they could have, even if they really needed to, move it into the mid lane. They could have moved Ziggs bot if they felt like it was necessary. And whilst Wukong, of course, is a strong champion, I'm not personally sold on pairing it with the champions that they had in that spot. But definitely right, the Leona still offers a lot of what they need. And I don't know. I just feel like, as far as Resolve are concerned, they're not necessarily too fussed about the Leona. They needed a secondary long-range engage on top of the Leona too. I feel, in order to make this kind of comp work, but Resolve should be fine now. I feel like what's going to end up happening is Rich Lee is just going to end up picking up a McHale's, or Dragdar ends up picking up a QSS, and then the Leona engage is pretty much null and void. And with the speed and the shield of Karma and Oriana, they should be able to kite out of just about any kind of engage.
It's going to be a fascinating matchup in that I think a lot of people would say Resolve probably won this draft. I think that's not an unpopular opinion. The idea that they've gone for very strong champions in the meta currently. They got Varus as well in the hands of Dragdar of all people. Giving Dragdar a champion he's so comfortable on, that's so strong. And then seeing the role being so squeezed away. Resolve banned Vigar because they lost the game to a Vigar in UKLC, where talking to them afterwards, they were like, we just did not have a plan for that pick. That is the reason they banned that away. And there's nothing, I'm looking over the side of London United. They haven't really pulled anything that's super crazy. Maybe the Ziggs is the only one that's not a champion that people accept. Yes, this champion is very strong. But there's nothing from London United that is going to come out and really shock this Resolve lineup. And I think that's what you maybe need a little bit. I don't want to devalue the ability of the players on the side of London United at all. They're all very strong players. I predicted London United to win this one. And I can still see them doing it with these champions. But I think you have a great chance of success against players like Altoris, like Dragdar, like Pillar, if you bring something a little bit different to the table. And I don't know if London United have really done that with this draft.
Yeah, I feel like when you're the underdogs, you kind of have to try and bring something out of the bag that's, that's shocking. That's a little bit surprising that, no team can really prep for. So perhaps why I'm so critical right now of the London United draft, but certainly very strong champions on the side of the London United team. But I just feel like Resolve also have the champions to match. So going into the game, there's no reason for me to say, London United have a weaker early game, get outscaled, because I don't feel like they necessarily do. And if their game goes anything like last week, London United get a opportunity to scale because Resolve will just roll over them in around 25 minutes.
Looking over the Keystone Masteries, just while we are loading this game, ladies and gentlemen, you've got the double Arcane Comet in the bot lane, super aggressive, super poke heavy. They want to be forcing Kumkum and the Human away. That's Resolve who have those aggressive masteries. Is there anything that really stands out to you across the map as something that maybe needs a little bit of explanation, or something that our viewers at home might not have seen before?
No, everything seems about right. Of course, we do have Volibear on the Rift, so very new champion. In terms of his masteries, I know the jury's still out on that one. I've seen some people run the Lethal Tempo. I've seen Conqueror, as Artorias is running in this game. And then, of course, I've seen the tankier keystones, things like Grasp of the Undying, things like Aftershock 2. So right now, Volibear's build paths and keystones seem a little bit up in the air. He did have a very curious, to say the least,
tumultuous release, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of teams and whatnot are still kind of figuring out the build paths for Volibear.
I'm talking to a couple of players who are top laners, not in competitive right now, but have been in and around competitive play before, in the university scene and elsewhere. And a couple of them have been saying some pretty weird things about phase rush Volibear jungle. So keep your eyes on the Rift for that one in the future. But I think right now the accepted wisdom is kind of Conqueror is very, very good. You're against a Wukong as well, so being able to trade him blow for blow when he wants Conqueror as well is going to be quite useful for Artorias in this game.
Yeah, more than likely. And Phase Rush Volibear jungle seems like some kind of secret tech that I just haven't heard about yet. So
it sounds like LCK nonsense that shouldn't work. It's like the old Klepto Vladimir who started like Cull, and he was like, "This is so stupid," but then you have like 4,000 gold more than your opponent in 20 minutes.
Just like Nuguri in Season 9 running
exactly
Klepto on every single champion in the game.
This chap's a Klepto chap. It's like, Nuguri, stop. We get it. We're removing the keystone. It's broken.
All right, that's it. We have to nerf Nuguri somehow.
Targeted nerf. But let's talk about the jungle matchup very, very quickly. We've talked about it a bit. I think we talked about this quite a lot last week as well. But of course, some of them won't have been here last week. So Nidalee versus Graves, two very aggressive, strong champions currently in the meta. Two of the, would you argue, stronger jungle picks right now?
Yeah, I feel like definitely, as far as competitive teams are concerned, a lot of them just feel like Graves, Nidalee still very much up there. We are in 10.12, of course. Trundle did get hit with what seemed like on paper not too much of a sizable nerf. He still operates very much the same, but certainly fallen a tad in priority, just a bit, just enough so that Graves and Nidalee have kind of taken the true throne of the stronger junglers in the game at the moment. So Nidalee certainly a pick I would expect to see a lot more in the near future. And as far as its matchup into Graves, it's okay. I think that they're both very fast tempo junglers that either want to sit back and power farm or actually try and press into lanes and get a little bit aggressive. But Nidalee, in theory, the reason why it's come out is more or less obviously the recent buff, but into Graves it wants to try and get invades in. But I feel like Graves as a champion can neutralize it well enough to the point where it's not necessarily a counter pick per se, but it's a champion that can keep up with Graves in terms of tempo and pace. And of course, because of the post level 9 XP changes, as a jungler, Nidalee loves to farm, so she keeps up in level with a lot of her laners.
And controlling tempo could be so crucial because for Resolve, they want to be asserting their dominance from the get-go, and you've got to imagine that on paper, at least, you've got a bunch of players in this Resolve roster who will be able to control their lanes, should be able to have the pressure, dictate the ebb and flow of these situations. But for London, Mao getting into lanes and disrupting what Nidalee's doing and disrupting how the lanes are going. If he can get a couple of kills early onto someone like the Wukong, like the Ezreal, then the game can be blown absolutely wide open.
Yeah, certainly so. And I feel like it's potentially what London United need to do is actually catch Resolve off guard and try and start some kind of snowball, because I do have questions in terms of not necessarily the scaling, because looking at it side by side, you'll definitely argue London United more than come out on top, especially with Lethality Varus. So even though they do outscale, I feel like because Resolve pound for pound have the stronger players, even if they fall behind, the scaling aspect might not even necessarily be an issue because of the champions in the game. So it's a very strange setup where if the teams were a little bit closer on paper, I would perhaps have London United down to actually be very comfortable in this kind of game. However, I feel like there was a really, really big error in allowing Karma and Varus to be able to go through and end up in the bot side. So Mawar is going to have to impact this lane. He's going to have to somehow disrupt the ebb and flow of Dragdar and Richly being able to just constantly push waves in and have permanent prio to stop Linkers from actually either coming in for potentially diving, or if they have mid lane prio, just getting a free dragon. So a lot of pressure is actually on Mawar's shoulders here in the early game.
Could pay dividends if he is able to come out and win the lane, because he's just very powerful as a champion. Great, very strong, and I'm skeptical that he won't be able to do something, because we've seen this player before. We saw him last week and he was pretty effective. Obviously didn't go on to win that game, but I just am hopeful, because it's very easy for a champion like Graves in Italy. You said these champions do like to farm if they can't get into lanes. And it's very easy if you're on the team that is maybe considered underdogs, if you've got that mentality as well, to be like, okay, let's just power farm into late. Because I don't want to see a Graves running up and down the jungle farming while Linkers is just like running around bopping people with spears.
Yeah.
Because that's not what I showed up to watch.
You didn't come out here to watch some spear dodging on the side of
I mean, a little
London
bit.
United. I mean,
a little bit, but not too greatly. We are, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a little bit of a pause initially as we go on to game.
Yep.
Is a resolve pause, so we will hopefully be getting some news / into game very, very shortly. Hopefully, it's just someone on the toilet or something like that.
It's a long time.
Sometimes you get locked in the stall. It's happened to the best of us.
Just locked in your own house.
But
yeah, we can hope.
Let's talk summoners quickly, because this is something that I've had discussions with multiple people before, especially when it comes to marksman.
Mm-hmm.
Heal is kind of on its way out, it would appear. In competitive play, people aren't really rating it as highly as they have done in the past, especially if you're not with a ardent abuser support. Because you can see Kuma has gone for the exhaust and the Heaven has gone for ignite. And on Resolve side, they haven't bothered with ignite at all. They've got exhaust on their karma and they've gone for the teleport on Dragdar.
Yeah, I mean, very much happy to take the sort of scaling lane option of having teleport. Varus, when they go lethality, typically just go into the teleport summoner spell. It does mean though that he doesn't obviously have cleanse available to him. So once he even actually hits level 6 and has the solar flare available to him, that long range engage can become quite potent and almost guarantee a flash blown out of Dragdar each time. So yeah. I would imagine Richley honestly has to end up rushing UKELs as opposed to going into all of the other support items that Karmas tend to go into, stuff like Fiends, maybe Redemption First, etc. With Lethality Varus and not really a lot of attacking champions, she probably doesn't want to go Ardent. So I'd imagine UKELs is the first item to come out here to sort of negate the Leona engage from long distance. But yeah, as you say, heal is on its way out. And you often only really see heal come out when supports like Lulu or the Yuumi are in the game, just because it's another means of having an obnoxious amount of bonus HP on your carry champion. And even then, heal is normally taken by the Lulu or by the Yuumi, and the AD carry will still end up taking exhaust. But here, Ezreal very much is taking exhaust most likely for if Artorias or Linkus end up on his face, and like we said, Dragdar on the lethality Varus likes to have TP just so he can either get an early base in, get a serrated Dirk or a couple of long swords, return back to lane, and then in the mid game, just sort of sit mid, throw arrows down the lane, clear the wave, get priority, and then move into sides.
If you've got fast speech on London United, you're laughing. But if you're not able to dodge skill shots, you're just going to have such an unpleasant game. Because the amount of you can put through, it's just, I'm looking at the roster and I'm thinking so like Nidalee, Spears, massive poke. I was thinking individually they all have a lot of poke, except for Volibear, obviously. But altogether, it's just so many times I could just see members of London sitting on the tower and just getting stuff just thrown at their head.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Will. We have to hope that London United have their views on today, because if they don't, they're going to be in a world of pain. Is sort of the title and theme of this game, most likely.
Just London United may be in a world of pain. They also might not be, because I want to go in a bit deeper on. So Resolve are very good. This isn't even analysis. This is me asking you questions about.
We're just podcasting.
We're riffing. Welcome to the UKEL podcast, brought to you by insert sponsor. We have no sponsors right now. If anyone wants to sponsor the show, get in touch at iPrune on Twitter. I'll set you up.
There you go.
Fighting out objectives is such a big thing in League of Legends. It's a massive part of where teams at comp level, that's where teams tend to meet for the first time, because people dying in lanes just 1v1 is kind of a little bit rare. And this is where the teams group up, have these scraps. If you're against a heavy poke composition like Resolve have, which is pretty decent early and has a lot of ability to team fight as well with the likes of Karma and Orianna, is the response to try and hard engage onto them to just force it out before they can whittle you down? Or do you have to try and outlive their poke? Because I'm looking, you've got Ziggs and Ezreal, but that's not really going to be poking more than this entire Resolve lineup.
Yeah, so that's the issue. Whilst Ezreal and Ziggs obviously have their own sort of floor of poke level that they offer you, when you're looking down the barrel of Lethality Varus, Nidalee, Karma, Orianna, there's so much zoning and return damage that you kind of start to wonder, okay, maybe it kind of gets nullified at this point. And on the side of looking for that reliable sort of engage, it's why I was so heavy on thinking that London United would end up picking the Ornn in R3 during the draft, because it would have made the most sense. It would have given them that long-range engage, and Resolved were in the position where they could very easily have just gone down the poke comp route, which, considering they have Varus, Nidalee, and Karma, it's not like it wasn't exactly a hard guessing game. So only having the Leona and then sort of the follow-up knock-up of a Wukong Ornn, Resolve really have to misplay to find themselves in a situation where this engage from London United is actually going to be a consistent variable in helping them find picks and stop themselves from being whittled down. And if this game goes beyond that sort of 20-minute mark, once Varus has his double to triple lethality items, and I would imagine Karma ends up going into Mikhail's to just completely nullify any kind of long-range engage from the Leona, I find it hard to see many worlds where London United actually find themselves in positions to make picks, because a lot of the pick potential that they have comes from Leona long-range engage and a flash ultimate from Wukong. Outside of that, Resolve have all of the tools available to them to peel back, and by that point in a game, they'll have the items to supplement such a playstyle. So it's why, even though I think at face value the London United comp might outscale Resolve's, I feel like this is going to be sort of a similar game to how I believe it was Lucendi and Nerd Rage's two comps. We said they both had insane scaling, but the Lucendi comp, the way that I wanted to operate into the Nerd Rage comp, it just couldn't function. And I feel like we're going to see the same story here. And I kind of worry for London on that front. So that's why I say they may have to rely on some kind of snowball, because if they don't, I struggle to see how they'll actually be able to function down the barrel of Nidalee and Lethality Varus poke with all of the utility that comes with Orianna and the Karma.
Well, just as a quick update, it was an internet issue on Resolve's side. Hopefully everything is being resolved, and hopefully we'll be able to get into the game very shortly. And
nice pun.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't even put two and two together on that one. My brain is not a bit all fully there right now. We need to get it warmed up and get into game, ladies and gentlemen. We are finally into our first game of the second day of the UKEL Summer Split 2020. We've got Resolve on the blue side. We've got London United on the red side. We've got 10 players on the Rift, finally all connected up and ready. And it doesn't look like we're going to get any kind of invade, just standard lines of scrimmage across the board.
Yep, just going by standard right now. Nothing too crazy going on, so just relaxing, really, is the name of the game right now. And we'll have to see. I feel like if you are Resolved, you could actually opt into a map split here, if you so want. Okay. As Nidalee certainly could win an early smite fight with the execute on her takedown. But seems like it's actually going to be London United that are the aggressors in this one, the early game. But just getting some vision down. We'll have that ward on the red buff, but it seems like Linkus is going to be starting on his top side jungle. Meanwhile, Mawa pathing down to his blue as well.
Yes, standard blue starts. This is setting up for what could certainly be a vertical jungle situation, but we'll have to wait and see if the junglers decide to shake hands on that one, or if one of them decides to go for it while the other one catches them a bit overextended. But with minions crashing there, we are now fully into this one, and the Ziggs pick is very interesting. I'm a little worried for Resolve, because I've seen enough games where a team is slowly being whittled away, but Ziggs just extends the game for 20 minutes just because of the amount of wave clear he has.
Yeah, and Ziggs is one of those champions, much like Victor, where if that mid-tier 1 doesn't drop, they just end up warping the game, because it's so hard to break that much wave clear from a champion like Ziggs. And hopefully, for London United's case, that can be the case, because mid-tier 1 for Ziggs and also an Ezreal, very, very important towers, as it seems like Resolve are going to be the first level 2 on the bottom side, and not unexpected with a Karma Varus lane. And I feel like as time goes on, we're going to see a CS lead be built down there, and Kum is going to struggle to keep up in the CS department with the Varus. But for now, keeping equal numbers as junglers kind of opting for, well, at least Linkus is opting for a full clear. On the opposite side, Mawa's gone buff to Raptors, and he's puffing back down towards the bottom side. So
maybe a bit worried about Circle.
Yeah, potentially. I'm not too sure, but I have to wait and see. It does spell though, as Linkus paths towards Mawa for an early skirmish. Will not too sure though.
No, it doesn't look like Mawa's got any interest in fighting that in Italy. He saw the bot lane leaving from Resolve and was like, you know what? I don't want to fight in a 3v1. I'm just going to go get the other Scarlet Crab. So Jungler's going to be shaking hands on those ones as well. It's all been very amicable so far in the jungle for this game. But as you can see, tiny little farm leads starting to be built from members of Resolve in the bot lane. And as you were saying, kind of what we're going to expect with Ezreal. A champion that can farm very safely, but doesn't necessarily have the ability to step up and wave clear just yet, and can run out of mana if he's not careful.
Yeah, certainly can. And Linkus actually getting his counter jungle in, ends up taking the Gromp and can probably get a spear down. I doubt they'll necessarily go for a dive, and I think just off screen the spear did indeed hit Kum, so he's not having a great time. Certainly posturing, my goodness, that is a long poke.
All coming through at once, and it's just not dodging enough of it to remain healthy. But as you say, it's difficult to dive this early on. It's very difficult to dive a Leona Ezreal this early on, even if the Ezreal is below half health. And Resolve quite rightly will back away. Graves in the top side, maybe looking to put some pressure on Artorias, but not going to be able to find an opening. Artorias is wise to it, even without vision, and it's just going to stand back and wait for that Graves to go back.
Yeah, just waiting for Mawa to leave him alone so he can continue laning. And that is exactly what's going to happen. And both junglers are basing. Linkus going to have boots over the Graves. And also going to have a small camp lead. Clearing efficiently means he's going to be able to just path all the way down through each camp and get back out onto the map. And with the lane priors going how they're going, especially the spot lane matchup being so heavily skewed in Resolve's favor, you would imagine that Resolve start to posture for an early dragon, as it seems like Ezreal's already being forced to early recall, and with no teleport it means he's going to miss a wave. And Linkus gets the opportunity to also come up and invade here, finds Mawa on the Wolves.
But only finds the Wolves with the spear, going to be looking to steal that one away, will be able to do so.
Yeah,
but not going to get onto Graves himself.
Yeah, not going to be able to get onto Graves himself, but it's still a pretty big win, already a level up. And Mawa starting to feel the pressure a bit with no lane priors whilst having Graves is never really a fun time. And Resolve, rightfully so, with so much pressure in both the mid lane and the bottom lane, getting the early Infernal start down. And Mawa nowhere really to be found, has no on this side of the map anyway. And Infernal, first dragon of the game, going to be picked up by Resolve in due time. Because it's taking a while, but it is theirs, I promise you. There you go.
Has been secure. I was so waiting. I was like, is there anyone on London United side who could possibly steal us away to make Javada look stupid? But sadly for me, there wasn't. They will be able to pick up the Infernal. Second dragon will be a cloud in about 4.5 minutes.
Oh my! I mean, Kum's got a base again. He can't. He's got a max range farm queue. This is such a painful lane. Okay.
Can't even max range farm. There's a Lily there. So we said this bot lane was going to be rough for London United. Even before Champs Night, we were like, Dragdar, a lot of people were saying best player in the league. Richly, a lot of people were saying best spot in the league. And giving them Varus, Karma, a very aggressive, very strong early game lane, and then leaving your bot lane to kind of pick whatever in the last round of picks, it's proven to be very, very rough. Mawa has not really been bot. Credit to Ezreal and Leona, they haven't given up kills and have actually been staying reasonably safe, but the farm lead is getting really huge.
Huge is a generous word. Being 30 CS down at 7.5 minutes isn't necessarily the the hidden tech. Yeah, not optimal. And with what feels like even an okay matchup in the top side, Resolve don't necessarily need to swap out, and Linkus actually even going to be able to potentially sneak away Mawa's red buff before he gets there. Definite on that one. And could even end up waiting for Mawa if he feels like it, but pings on towards Victorio here, and then also towards mid, so making up his mind on what he wants to do.
Could be a bit of a scrap in the jungle. The junglers are next to each other, but Richley could be engaged on Articuno. Needs to be very careful. Takes a lot of damage on that spear. We're moving bot lane though, as Richley's being caught out. The Heathen moving forward, gonna get rooted up. Notice gonna take a lot of damage from the tower. Has to flash away himself as Varus looks for the snipe. Will land it. That's a lot of damage. Flash forward. First blood going on to Dragdar. It looks pretty good for London United for a second in the bot lane, but absolute disaster in the end.
Yeah, absolute disaster. And there was a mid lane skirmish going on. It seems like both the jungle. Oh my, the Scorch!
Oh, and the Scorch hit takes him down. Kun finally gets taken out, and that's 2-0 Dragdar.
Wow, massive snipe from Dragdar there. I don't even know if he had vision. I'm not sure how that even happened, to be totally honest with you. And winning on all fronts right now, Resolved. Even gonna end up picking up the Herald up here, so full control of this game right now. Gonna very soon ding a 2k gold lead. You would imagine Linkus is a full level up on Mawa, and Dragdar's going to end up finishing up a Lethality item after he resets here, and it's just complete disaster right now for London United. And this is not the start you need or want if you're trying to pull out any kind of upset at all here. And it seemed like from the bottom side of the map that the Heathen and Kun saw an opportunity to actually open up onto Dragdar and Richley, but a lot of return damage came down. This gank not really going to amount to much. And that bottom side play, in the grand scheme of things, ends up with Dragdar picking up 2 kills and even going Edge of Night. So just from the get-go, just immediately nullifying that long-range Leona engage. Not going to opt into a Yomu's or a what's the lethality item where you clear the vision actually called? I always forget the name.
Is the name of that item Umbral Glaive. For those of you keeping score at home. But it's very, very rough now for London United because they've lost out bot and they've lost out further bot by trying to make that aggressive play. Mawa isn't really in a position to force anything elsewhere. You've got Articuno and you've got Victoria who are keeping up with their lane opponents right now, but it's going to be very, very difficult for a Ziggs and a Wukong to really do anything because Volibear is just a big hunk of meat, so he's not exactly going to be going down very quickly, and Pillar's very able to stay safe. Linkus, Mara in the jungle might be looking to engage onto it, but in the top side, Victoria and Artorias are having their own scrap. The ultimate comes through from the Wukong.
Oh my!
Not going to do very much so, and Artorias is going to dunk him down, pick up the 3rd kill for Resolve.
Alright, well, this game's starting to look worse and worse as time goes on for London United here. Resolve just have complete control of this game. Going to break the bomb tier 1 tower. Seems like going to funnel as much of that gold as they can into Dragdar. Actually, somehow Richley is still in range to pick up plates too. So, splitting the gold a little more than I'm sure they'll like, but in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really seem like it's going to be necessary. And losing control on all fronts right now, London United are even going to pick up this next Cloud Dragon, complete control of the area, and things just get worse if this happens to roll as an Ocean Soul, because one of the few things that... Oh, double shockwave.
Big damage from Pillar, not going to be able to get a kill there. Mauer and Alts going to force back over Richley and Dragdar, maybe hunting for it. Moving forward, Richley on the cover, flashes forward, gets the slow, gets the stun, gets the kill himself, and Heathen can only stand and watch. He's going to jump in on Dragdar now, but Articuno is not too long for this world. He's going to have to run away, not going to be able to assist with the fight any further, and needs to dodge the snipe, will be able to do so. Oh, won't catch it over the wall, and he's going to be dunked down by Artorias on the volley, but Heathen on the tower, just needs to be careful. 4 members of Resolve looking to move forward, but I'm going to look to chase onto the Leona, not worth their time, as they're going to look to reset.
Yeah, just going to look to reset there, and Pillar with a nice double shockwave. Mauer and Articuno just kind of step a little bit too far forward, a little bit too audacious, and get caught up in the CC and run down. And Dragdar, I don't think he got the kill credit for the kill onto Articuno. I think it was Artorias, so enjoying that one. Triforce first on the Volibear. Seems to be the tech this game, and Ocean Soul was the role of Dragons and Rift here, so things just get worse and worse for London United, because one of the few avenues that they kind of did have at least was some kind of return poke, and you would imagine the Ocean Soul does get picked up here if trends continue. Do have a DC, so gonna get the game paused up, but trends continue, you imagine that Resolve end up picking up this Ocean Soul in the long run, and if that's the case, it's just going to make the game harder to play out. And I suppose if there is any saving grace, it is that, you know, the London United team, the draft, does have a lot of wave clear, but there comes a point where can they actually survive the onslaught of poke when this Varus is as fed as he is, when the Nidalee is as gold accelerated as she is? Can they deal with the Karma? Can they deal with just about everything really on the Resolve side? And right now it looks like the answer is going to be no.
Do have a update for you in terms of just connectivity. We do of course have another pause on screen. It is Resolve's mid laner has disconnected again. This was the issue with the first pause as well. We've had confirmation in chat that at 15 minutes, so in about 50 seconds time, the game is going to resume 4v5 because it appears that London United are not able to give over their pause time as well. Not a good situation to be in, but it does look like we're going to be moving to a 4v5 with Resolve being down their Orianna for the time being. But, you know, this is just hardcore mode. This is New Game Plus for Resolve. They're in a very good position. The resources aren't really on the Orianna. It does take away a little bit of that team fight ability, but it gives London United a way back into this game. It gives Resolve a different challenge. And if Resolve can go on and win this 4v5, this will be a statement game.
Yes. Everything you said in that sentence was just about correct.
Thank you.
Certainly, you're welcome, buddy. Certainly a statement game would be an understatement if they were actually able to pull out a 4v5. So Resolve really just praying to the gods that they will be able to. Oh, okay. He's feeling fine. He's still feeling great. But yeah, I mean, like you said, the resources not really on the Orianna. A lot of the gold on the Varus, on the Volibear, and elsewhere. So certainly would be very interesting to see how they manage to pilot this one out. This wave clear coming out from Articuno.
I mean, the question here is, and that's the operative word, wave clear. So London United are obviously also aware that this is now a 4v5 for as long as Pillar isn't to be. Pillar obviously can rejoin when he gets there, but might well be far behind. London at the moment very far behind, but in 40 minutes time, this early lead will not matter in the game because everyone will be full build. And in a 4v5 where everyone's full build, London are really far ahead because they've got a whole 6 items, a whole champion extra. Is this a point where London United are sitting there and going, right, turtle strats, we'll give away a couple of bits, we'll give them the next dragon, we don't need to worry too much about that, and we'll just wait until we can really play advantage. Is that something that could be going through these players' minds?
I mean, realistically, yes. They very well could just decide to say, hey, we know right now, because of where the resources are placed, that, you know, we don't necessarily want to take any skirmishes or fights unless it really is Resolve overstepping somewhere. And they could just end up waiting until having that extra man is genuinely an advantage. But right now, as things stand, I feel they are so far behind with this 5k gold lead that Resolve losing their Orianna might not actually mean too much. And that's a scary thing to be able to say if you're routing for a London United victory. And right now, Resolve posturing for this Herald doesn't seem like it's going to be on uneven numbers terms, as Victorio is on the bottom side with teleport available to him. So Ping's actually coming out on the mid wave. I like that, trying to just regain maybe some mid control before poking ahead into the Herald, but kind of just seems like it's going to be gone. Actually,
engage on the tower. Dragon stunned up. Dragon taken out. There's no numbers advantage needed there as the VAR is absolutely deleted under his own tower. But now revenge resolves got blood in the water. Artorias moving forward, looking to get a stun down. Can't find anyone though. It looks like London happy with their killer, gonna try and slink away, putting a bit of poke out as they do so. But that's the kind of play that London desperately needed.
Yeah, and That is exactly what they needed. Got the shutdown too. It did go on to Kum, so it's exactly who they kind of want it to be on. So very clean lockdown right there. Managed to break the edge of Night Shield, and once the CC was there, snipe from downtown from both the carries was more than enough to just overkill Ezreal. So nice pick up there. They don't quite manage to break the mid-tier 1 as the rest of the Resolve did show up, but a big pickup nonetheless. And now looking towards this dragon, could certainly look to kind of attempt to brute force this here with a potential numbers advantage. As giving over an Ocean Soul, you know, it's not the nicest of things. It's okay.
Looks like Resolve aren't wanting to give this one up lying down. All 4 members that they currently have on the Rift are moving towards it. It actually takes a little bit of poke, actually needs to be careful, but this is where the Ocean Soul goes from very bad for London United to very good for London United. Because if they can start securing these and getting that sustain, they can start weathering the poke coming through from Resolve. And Resolve are very good at running backwards, but they're not so great at running forwards.
Yeah, they aren't really. Whilst they, of course, you know, they have the karma to get themselves around. There's no Orion to supplement that as Chain's Corruption goes wide, so that's another pick tool not there for them.
Really got the volley bear in the backside. They've already managed to pick up one with Dragdar. Richly will go down as Victoria and even now look towards the Nidalee flash already used. Looking for the blast, looking for the stun. That's going to be the double kill going over to Wukong. Ricko was dropped mid lane to try and cause a distraction just before teamfight broke out, but won't be able to pick up the tower. And in an uneven fight where it's actually going to be London United coming out the better, might actually look to chase for more. Do have control over the Dragon Pit, but might want to try and catch Dragdar and Torres out once again, but Virus doesn't want anything to do with this team fight, has already moved well far backwards. Heaven is going to be the one who's going to look to pull the trigger, but decides against. Interesting that they went to chase away rather than starting up the Dragon.
Yeah, certainly a bit curious, but with the resets coming, I mean, Articuno does have TP at least, so he can come back out onto the map. The Heathen's base was just interrupted, and against what feels like all odds, it seems like Resolve are actually going to pick this Ocean Dragon up, so now only 1 dragon away. Oh, please! Oh.
No, not even close, baby, but Articuno will return a mid lane tower, but you've got to wonder, why didn't London just... They didn't have their jungler. They did not have Mawa there, but it was a 2v3, 2v4 if you didn't reset. Why didn't you just turn around and go for the dragon there?
I wish I could tell you.
That's why you're here.
I really wish I could tell you. I have no idea why the decision was made to do that. It's kind of baffling. If even if I could look back at it, I would still wonder why exactly that was the case, but here we are. Resolve are 1 dragon away now from...
Torres going in deep onto Victoria, does get stun up, needs to be careful, doesn't have ultimate available to him, does actually have ultimate available to him, and it's just going to be fighting 1v1 against this Volibear. Don't think you win this straight fight, and Volibear going to be able to pick up that one, ripping apart the monkey.
Alright, well... we're getting to sad moments of the game, even if this is currently a 4v5. Linkus could be in trouble here.
Linkus could be in trouble. Will he even get the engage? Looking for the Zed play. Will land it under tower. Kumkum is there as well. So much damage comes through. And this is the power of Heathen's engage. He can stun up someone for long enough for all of that damage to come down, and the tower's gonna fall too. Yeah.
So Linkus and getting caught out here is kind of an unfortunate event. Does give a lot of gold over to London United in terms of the tower as well, but Resolve do trade it back, taking down the mid-tier 1, which undoubtedly has more value if you're London United, and trying to see some kind of cheese come down from Resolve, waiting in the jungle, but doesn't seem like it's really going to work. Pillar. Beg your pardon. London United kind of just going back to lanes, not really trying to walk through the jungle right now, complete darkness for them. And if you're London United, you probably want to just try and pull Resolve into this barren area. You want to try and just force the numbers advantage. Victorio can't hold this Volibear on the side lane any longer. So you really want to try and just make a 5v4, actually happen here. with the numbers advantage, even if it's as early as this, whilst the Resolve champions are spiking, it feels like it's probably their best bet.
Is there a world where Victorio does overtake the Volibear and is able to fight him again? Because we saw in that last fight, even though Wukong didn't have ultimate, so it wasn't a completely fair fight, it was pretty convincing for Artorias. Is Victoria waiting for a time where he can?
Okay.
Little flash below from Arcuno. Will Victoria ever be able to be on the Switch again, basically?
I would imagine that eventually Wukong could be able to actually win out on the side, but Volibear skate. Okay.
Are we gonna see it right now though? Looking to get away, trying to use all the tricks in his locker, get out ult as well, but Artorias has already ulted and has done so much damage to the Wukong. The second ultimate comes out for Victoria, looking to get away, even there for the assist, and he will be able to escape from Volibear this time around, but yeah, right now, not looking convincing on the side wave.
Yeah, if Victorio is gonna be able to actually hold Volibear on the side lane at the very least, feels like it's gonna take a while. It doesn't seem like Volibear is gonna be struggling with the monkey anytime soon, and even with this man advantage, London kind of still seem lost on the map. They don't really seem to know what they can do, and Resolve kind of just still look comfortable. I'm not really sure if you Resolve. I guess you're just waiting for the Ocean Soul, and at that point, the amount of value you can get out of an Ocean Soul just might feel like an entire added champion to your roster in very unfortunate circumstances. But we'll have to see. Dragdar is still very, very far ahead of the curve right now. Double lethality items, has a Last Whisper to even ignore percent damage too. Resolve certainly ready to deal with this fight, even if it is 4v5. London just trying to make sure that it is as awkward as possible for Resolve to actually check into the river.
Still have a warning pit though, so they will know the dragon that isn't being started up just yet. Resolve actually have the inside track on this one, and grabbing this dragon would be really, really good. Not only will it be amazing to deny any poke coming out from this London United line, they're actually going to look for the fight now. Mara instantly to lead the dragon against that kill. Heaven's gone in and has gone goal, and the rest of the team is just not there. Let's get the Mega Inferno bomb, and we'll be doing damage into Artorias. Now Victoria looking for revenge. Who's going to pick that one up, and just like that, London United pick up 2 kills and just swayed any kind of Resolve play. But once again, the dragon is not being stopped up.
I mean, kind of makes sense. You're versus Nidalee and Varus, so starting up the dragon would be very risky business. All it takes is a very well-timed... Okay, that is a lot of poke damage. All it takes is a very well-timed spear and an arrow from both Dragdar and Linkus, and they can just outright burst the dragon. Far more than a Smite Execute. As trying to get a sneak here, I don't think this one's going to quite work. Resolve feel the same way, so I'm going to just back away here. London hesitating, and rightfully so, to actually take this well, in all worlds be a flip of a dragon. Gonna wait for Mara to get back and then attempt to start this one up, but ultimates are already back for the Resolve side, but the numbers advantage is such a unfortunate reality. You're gonna try and get in there.
The steal, dragon goes down. It's gonna be Kukum securing it for London United. They're gonna pick up the Nidalee as well. Articuno on a killing spree on their Ziggs, and that almost... I saw the headlines, Linkus steals dragon ends game, but sadly this time around, it goes over to London United.
Yeah, and starting to get flashbacks of Spring Split of London Esports' first game of their split right here.
Let me put a stop to you right there, because I've died on this hill before. The peak London Esports game... Okay, first of all, London United, London Esports, it's very different teams.
Yes,
second of all, they're different orgs entirely. Yeah. So, peak Esports were winning that game where London went 4v5.
Absolutely.
It was very late in the game, so then it was just, okay, so, well, we're just going to kill you 4v5 and end the game, which is exactly what happened. Resolve lost a player very early when they were in a dominant position, and it's not just a one-team fight to end for the other team. And Resolve are very much not out of this game yet. They've still got that gold lead. it's very unfortunate that they've lost their 5th man. And London United have been very, very smart in how they've been playing this game up to this point. There've been some question marks, but knowing that they're enough 45, they've been doing exactly what they need to do.
Yeah, doing enough is the name of the game here. And just waiting really until the numbers advantage is meaningful, and it seems like that time is now. Potential engage.
Looking the catch on the Kunkis again. The Liam Dragdar gets the kill once again. 5 kills on to the Varus, and that's a big pickup. The numbers are now even, and not that many retails actually burned for that kill. They just used Dragdar's ultimate. So very, very nice pickup from Resolve, and now looking to potentially apply a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, and mind you, the Varus ultimate has a very, very low cooldown, already halfway through the cycle, and Kunkun hasn't even respawned yet. He's still got 10 seconds left on the death timer. But one of the bigger issues here with Resolve right now is that they don't really have a fast Baron. So they don't really have any true opportunity to ever sneak this away or even really start it up because of how long it can take to actually burn it down. No constant DPS dealer here on the side of Resolve. So London really are just comfortable sitting here, waiting. They can afford to be picked off like that. It will certainly feel uncomfortable, but it doesn't really change the way the game is because Pillar's not here. There is no Orianna, there is no 5th man. The man advantage is now in effect. And as time goes on, if Pillar, you know, can't get the ham out of the servers, can't get the internet fixed, this is going to be the issue. And I mean, London United are here, they're starting up with the Baron. There's no real contest right now. For all Resolve know, they could just be waiting in a bush, trapping for a face check, so they have to approach it cautiously. And all of that added time means Baron's going to be secured, and Will, I think I know where this game's going.
You can sense that it's kind of exactly what I said London United could well do just after this game. If you are just joining us, Resolve versus London United, first game of the UKEL second day in summer 2020. Unfortunately, Resolve's mid laner Pillar has been having internet connectivity issues, and all of the pause time allotted to this game for Resolve has now run out, so they are playing 4v5. But it could well be the case that it's going to be the slow burnout, as London United just have that advantage, can afford to make little mistakes because they don't actually matter. We'll be able to take these global objectives because the contest is just going to be too difficult. And London United have proved at these objectives that they can win fights against Resolve 4v5 because Articuno has been playing very, very well. And to be fair, shining light of this team so far was playing decently in the 4v5 in the 5v5 as well. So definitely being the one to watch. And I'm just going to say, when we were discussing this game before we went live, talking about what we expect to see in this game, I said that it could be a case of Resolve just not respecting a comfort pick or something that's a little bit strange coming in from London and that causing massive problems. And I mean, there's a Ziggs that's causing a few problems here. Oh, they've caught on to there's some problems for right as well as he goes down. That's so much damage, and it's every time it's the Ziggs picking up the kills.
Yeah, it's just these Max Ray. Okay, good. Bye, Linkus.
Like well, stuns there, and he goes down. So another pickup from London United. They do manage to pick up 2. Dragon on the map as well. Should be feeling pretty confident to start this one up. There's no jungler right now for Resolve. They've only got their top laner and their marksman. Dragdar, obviously a very scary prospect, but needs to be careful himself that he doesn't get picked off. So going to be giving the second one over, and just like that, decent amount of sustain coming in for London United.
Yeah, 2 Ocean Dragons. So Hook is gonna start becoming less and less effective, as he will just slowly heal up those health bars. 2 more now away from his soul. We have to wonder whether or not this game actually gets to that point. So very, very unfortunate game to be watching over, unfortunately. But if you are Resolved, it's kind of even hard to see a way back into this game. You don't even necessarily outscale. There's no Aphelios Lulu to save you in this kind of game. There's no Kassadin. There's no Hyperscaler. that can actually 1v9 a game. So Resolve just kind of gonna get choked out in the man disadvantage, unfortunately. And we've seen time and time again, it just comes down to a max range solar flare, and it's followed up by a true shot barrage and a mega inferno bomb. And it's enough damage to just outright blow up any target on the side of Resolve. That's all it really takes at this moment in time. So seeing London United just be very, very cautious about how they approach this game. They know that as long as Pillar doesn't come back, as sad as it is, that they just have to play the game out slowly, and the man advantage can just carry them through this. So no real agency or needed or urgency for that matter to necessarily end the game. And I don't really see a way for Resolve to come back into this one as things stand. Even if Pillar comes back, gonna be very, very far behind as Gage goes wide on Artorias, but
yeah,
we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we witness a double miracle here.
Maybe is there room for one more miracle in this game? Resolve, obviously man down, have now given up the gold lead for the first time in a very long time in this game, and London United are going to be satisfied to just poke away, siege up. They've got the Ziggs, they've got the Ezreal. They're feeling pretty confident. Double Ocean Drake will be keeping them topped up as well, and they're happy to just leave Victoria on the side, able to cause pressure elsewhere. Going to be able to take that inner tower. And now the engage might be coming through. Richley is the one who's being caught out, and there's all the damage, exactly as you said, and it takes down the car.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet, but even a collateral damage from downtown too gets the job done. 4 ultimates just to kill poor old Richley, but if it works, it works, and gonna be taking down this inhib to you imagine. Only a matter of time will, feels like, as one on top side.
Rory actually being chased down, used the ultimate twice. We'll be looking to get a blast going, but Artorias is like, let me give you a hand with that, brother. Looking to take down Wukong with Victoria. Once again, trying to be sneaky, trying to get away, but Artorias is very fast and very angry, looking to secure the kill onto his top lane opponent in the 1v1. Derek's Gage will keep Victoria alive a little bit longer, but it's not going to matter, and Artorias still asserting his dominance in this top lane matchup.
Yeah, asserting dominance is one way of putting it. It's probably the TOS way of putting it, to be honest. But yeah, Artorias really just stabbing his Euphoria on the side lane. Seems like Victorio just can't keep up with this Volibear on the side lane. Doesn't even really have anti-heal either. I feel like that's a really big deal in terms of keeping Volibear down in these 1v1s. So not having that is definitely, in my eyes, a bit of a blunder in the build path.
Yeah.
But unsure whether it will even be consequential at this point.
It kind of comes back to the idea of like, London United can make some mistakes in builds or in decision making because they're not able to be punished because, as we keep saying, Resolve are 4-man right now. Do not have a laner and have started up the Baron. Resolve, though, not wanting to give this one up for free. Victoria is going to be teleporting down the mid lane. Now, Taurus not yet there, doesn't teleport in the bot side on the Volibear, but it's going to be pretty complicated. London United have it down for 4k, should be able to secure this one. It does look like Resolve are just going to give this one away. They don't want to force the fight that loses them the game, but may want to force the fight that gets them a pick onto the Wukong. There's 3 members sitting in that bush. They've got coverage, but not going to be caught out now. It looks like London United are happy to move forward once again. They've got all their ultimates available. Who are they going to pick onto? It's going to be directly onto Richley, who goes golden to avoid all of that damage. That's a lot of what London United can do. Already wasted. Victoria has been taken out. He even goes low, but is still alive. Snowbake keeps him alive, and Artorias in the back. Kumkum does manage to get the kill onto Karma eventually, and now they're going to turn on to the Volibear. Should be able to have enough to take him down as well. It's going to be a shutdown for Articuno. That fight was much, much closer. And Articuno, inches from death, does manage to stay alive. But with Linkers and Dragdoll live once again with all that poke, I don't think that London United are going to be able to take this dragon just that.
Yeah, if they can't find a way to get onto this Varus and onto the Nidalee, I'm going to find it hard to say that London United can take it. This is more than audacious.
This is a Hail Mary play. Can't through the even has gone to Dragdoll. Kumkum gets the damage. Kumkum gets the kill. And Linkers is going to be able to slink away, leaving his marksman for dead as the dragon may well now be secured coming through, but I don't know if London United really want to take this one up. The Nidalee is still in the it's a 41.
Should be fine.
I believe in miracles. The Heathen goes down. What can Nidalee do? Jump back out. Hey. Dragon is going to be secured by Mauer, so third Ocean Drake, and they're going to be able to pick up Nidalee as well. What could have been a bang ends up being a whimper as London United look towards the middle lane.
Yeah, looking towards the mid lane, and this all starts off with what seemed like a really promising team fight for Resolve. Artorias gets onto the backline, but Dragdar and Linkus seem to have been zoned off on the back end of the fight. Couldn't actually assist their top laner in finding some more poke damage, and then at the very end, I don't even know what to say about what the Resolve jungler and AD carry are thinking. Trying to start up the dragon just seemed like they're in complete disconnect there, and Dragdar gets engaged onto, dies, and Linkus goes for the Hail Mary play to try and secure the dragon, but it's just not enough at the end of the day. And
speaking of Hail
do my
Mary
eyes
play,
deceive me? Because
Pillar may have reconnected, so we might be back into a 5v5. It's likely to be too little too late, but stranger things have happened. The inhibitor tower top does fall down, but they're not going to be able to get the inhibitor as they're forced away. Orianna steps back out onto the rift. Level 9, but there was a lot of gold in pockets. So, Jabada,
all right,
do you dare to dream?
Do I dare to dream? Honestly, yes. As far as these team fights are concerned, all they've really been missing is a good shockwave. Just the CC. Not even necessarily the damage that can come with it. Yes, Ori's gonna be more than behind on levels, more than behind on damage, but if Pillar can find that Dream Shockwave, that could genuinely be all it needs. All this game needs for Resolve to actually come back in here. And if you're London United, you have to just blow someone up. You have to find this long range engage with the solar flare armor from Leona, and just, you know, collateral damage, Mega Inferno Bomb, True Shot Barrage from downtown. Hope it's enough to blow up the target on Resolve, and just pray that that's what gets you through a fight. But certainly will. This could be it. This could be what Resolve need. I'm chuckling because it's such ridiculous circumstances that Pillar finally comes back what is effectively 40 minutes into the game. Brink of defeat stuff. It's almost shonen anime-esque.
It's second Lord of the Rings film. As Resolve have rode out of Helm's Deep, they've gone down that ramp and they've looked up, and there on the hill is Pillar. He's got an Archangel staff. He's got his Oblivion Orb, and he's going to charge down the hill. Whether he will break the lines of London United, we'll have to wait and see. But I can feel it. This will be a great story if Resolve do manage to come back and win this game. Something that was being touted by so many as just a very simple, easy win for Resolve has become this epic tale of 2 teams and 1 Ethernet cable. And the next fight is going to be very, very telling. Resolve need to be very careful that they don't just get caught out, because one false move from someone like the Karma, like the Nidalee, to allow for that execution, and that could just be curtains for them.
Yeah, that's all it really takes. And even scarier now, London actually have to have some level of caution around the Baron pit. With the Orianna Shockwave there, it's enough to turn a fight, right? If Volibear is also in the area, Shockwave into a massive Volibear, the AoE, it's a lot of damage. And Pillar is catching up in levels. He is still very much behind. He's still the lowest level in the game, but it's not like he's level 9 anymore. He's slowly getting there as... Ooh, Chains of Corruption.
Engage will actually land onto Cuckoo, damage coming through, and London have to back away. Even looking for the engage, they will land it onto Nidalee. Richly, Linkus doesn't even go down, does not survive. The ultimate from Ziggs doesn't land because of the ultimate. Victoria in the backline looking for Pillar is low. Will be able to flash away, but everyone is still up. Linkus will be the first to fall in that fight, but I can see Artorias in the backline looking for Articuno. The gold will save him for now as he's going to be chased away by the damage. That fight was nowhere near as secure for either team as they'd have liked. but this could be what London United need. They did pick up the kill and are looking towards the Nexus. The first tower is already gone down. Dragdar has to flash away. Even will be able to get him out of the kill. That's the second one. And just like that, London United will win out that game.
Well, where do we even begin, Will? Where do we even begin? What a roller coaster of emotions, really.
There's a lot of questions. Would Resolve have won very quickly had they have had 5 members? Would the composition that was built by London United have won out? How much of a superior analyst am I for foreseeing the disconnect on Pillar and predicting London United to win that game? I mean, there's a lot we could ask. There's a lot we can question in this one, but I think the storyline of this one is very much the disconnect, right? We can't really get past it. It's not something we like talking about, and I think that it's a very unfortunate situation, and Resolve did look in a very controlling position when they did go a man down.
Yeah, and even like you say, they still look like they're in a controlling position because of where the resources were allocated at the time, but it just does get to a point where a man advantage is going to be too much. Like we said, it's not like Resolve were working with this hyper carry-esque style of comp. They weren't. They were running with a comp which spiked heavily in the mid game, sort of definitely relied on having some kind of, pressure advantage at the very least. And Pillar not being there, that's all it takes.